You ever hear a story that starts so quiet you barely notice it, but by the end, it's like a bomb went off in your head? That's what happened at Fort Baxter, middle of nowhere, Arizona, summer of 23, when a woman named Lila Voss walked into a training camp and turned everything upside down. Picture this, a dusty convoy rolling to a stop, heat so thick it's like breathing soup, and a group of recruit skids, really stepping out, all nervous energy and sweaty palms, ready to prove themselves or crash trying. I'm not gonna lie, I was one of those recruits, just another grunt named Sam Carter, third in my family to chase a military dream, thinking I knew what tough looked like. But Lila? She didn't fit. She showed up in beat-up hiking boots, no tactical patches, just a plain black tank top, looking like she wandered in from a camping trip. Most of us were buzzing on Red Bull and bravado, but Lila, she moved like she'd already seen the end of the movie, you know? Calm, steady, like she'd memorized every corner of that base before she even got there. Sergeant Mike Russo, our drill instructor, clocked her right away. He's up on his platform, squinting like he's trying to solve a puzzle, muttering to himself, "Who the hell is she?" Her file was thin, barely 6 pages, no medals, no nothing, just a weird note at the bottom. Clearance level Delta, archived. That's the kind of thing that makes your skin crawl if you know what it means. Most of us didn't. Russo wasn't the only one watching. Captain Elena Torres, the one running the show, had already flagged Lila's file. She told me later it wasn't just TNIT was erased. Redacted emergency contacts, vague postings, like someone had gone through with a black marker and scrubbed her past clean. But Lila? She didn't act scrubbed. She stepped into formation that first day, eyes scanning exit routes, blind spots, like she was casing the joint. I remember thinking, this chick's either a spy or she's lost. Turns out, I wasn't even close. Camp Baxter was no joke. Think obstacle courses designed to break your ego, heat that cooked your boots to the ground, and Russo, who'd chew you up for blinking wrong. He had this thing about weakness, said it was a virus, and he was the cure. Lila, though she was his blind spot. He'd stalk through the ranks, barking orders, and every time he got to her, he'd lean in, voice dripping with venom. "Voss, you lost, civilian? This ain't a yoga retreat." She'd just nod. "Yes, Sergeant, understood." No heat, no pushback, like she was humoring a toddler. It drove him nuts. I started noticing her, though, really noticing, during the weapons drill. We're out there, stripping down these M7 rifles, fancy, adaptive tech, the kind that jams if you sneeze on it. Most of us are fumbling, cursing under our breath, trying not to look like idiots. Lila? She picks up the rifle like it's a snake, all cautious, like she's never touched one before. But I'm watching her hands. Those hands knew what they were doing. Every move was smooth, practiced, like she'd done it 1,000 times in the dark. She finished in 5 minutes flat, fastest in the group, but acted like it was a fluke, fumbling the last piece like she was nervous. Russo didn't buy it, but he didn't call her out either. Just glared, like he was daring her to slip up. Then came the range. Oh man, the range. Russo's in his element, strutting like he's in a damn action flick, yelling about trigger discipline, stance, all that jazz. Lila steps up, slow, like she's reading a manual in her head. She raises the rifle, squints through the scope, and fires 5 shots, steady, deliberate. When the target comes back, I swear the air stopped moving. One hole, dead center. 5 bullets, one ragged bullseye. Master Gunner Pete Hayes, guy who's trained SEALs, looked like he saw a ghost. He muttered something about only seeing that kind of shooting twice in his career, and both those names were classified. Russo, though? He just scoffed. "Lucky shot, Voss. Don't get cocky." Lucky? Lucky? I wanted to scream, "Man, open your eyes." But it was the hand-to-hand training where things got wild. Russo's teaching us these brutal takedowns, all raw power, no finesse. He's slamming recruits to the mat, grinning like a shark. Lila gets paired with Big Jake, this ex-linebacker with a chip on his shoulder and fists like hams. She looks hesitant, almost shaky, but the second Jake lunges, it's like a switch flips. She sidesteps, barely an inch, and he's eating dirt. Her hand grazes his shoulder just a tap and he's down, groaning. Russo barks. "More force, Voss. Stop dancing." She nods. "Yes, Sergeant." But I'm close enough to see her eyes theory not sorry. They're bored. Like she's done this with guys who hit harder and meant it. By week 4, Russo's had enough. He's got this vendetta, see? Lila's not breaking, not cracking, just soaking up his crap like a sponge. So he sets up what we called the meat grinder, a drill where you face 5 of the camp's best for 30 seconds. Survive, you're golden. Fail, you're gone. Black mark on your record forever. Major Hank Callahan announces it after lights out, floodlights blazing, his voice like thunder. Voss, you've been coasting. Let's see if your civilian tricks hold up. The whole camp's buzzing, medics on standby, officers lining the perimeter. Even Captain Torres shows up, looking like she hasn't slept. Rumor was she'd been digging into Lila's file all night, found something about a Phantom Protocol clearance, whatever that meant. The 5 guys they picked, Hodge, Riley, Cruz, Mason, and Novak, were beasts. Special ops types, all muscle and menace, stretching like they're about to hunt. Lila walks out, sleeves rolled up, and I see scars, bullet marks, knife cuts, the kind of history you don't get from a desk job. Callahan blows the whistle, and it's chaos. Hodge charges first, 250 pounds of pure freight train. Lila's shifts barely moves, and he's in the dirt, clutching his neck, confused as hell. Riley and Cruz come from both sides, but she's gone, like smoke. They crash into each other, cursing, and before they can recover, she's got Riley's arm limp with a palm strike, Cruz's knee buckling with a tap. Mason tries a low grab, bad move. Her elbow finds his skull, and he's out. 20 seconds in, it's just Novak, the quiet one, the thinker. He freezes, eyes wide, like he's staring at a predator. I yield, he says, barely a whisper. The crowd's silent, then I start clapping, to know why, just had to. Everyone joins in, not cheering, just recognizing. Captain Torres saw it too, the tattoo on Lila's arm. 6 lines, 1 crossed out. Later, she told me it was a mark from some ghost unit, operatives who don't exist, whose missions never happened. Lila was supposed to be dead, her file buried. But there she was, rewriting our reality in 83 seconds flat. By noon, Lila was gone, reassigned as some high-level instructor, her past still locked behind clearance levels nobody could touch. Those 83 seconds, though, they burned into Fort Baxter's soul. Russo never talked about her again, but you could see it in his eyes. She knew he'd been wrong. Dead wrong. So what do you think? Was Lila a hero, a ghost, or just someone who played the game better than anyone? Drop a comment. Tell me, have you ever seen someone underestimated like that, only to flip the script? Share your stories. Let's talk about what really makes someone dangerous.